Former first Chief Information Officer of the United States, Vivek Kundra, is the man who catapulted the US into the cyber future. He says the White House was in the technology dark ages when he joined in 2009. Even President Obama had to fight to get a BlackBerry. He spearheaded an efficiency drive in the US government's IT bureaucracy that had bloated out to 2,000 data centres and launched it into cloud computing. Well, I spoke to him earlier from Canberra, and he says the sky's the limit. Vivek Kundra, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tiki.
OK, now look, since you're down in Canberra, I should ask you, there was a Senate inquiry yesterday which revealed that our government was wrestling with hackers, and that the website, the parliamentary website, now has a filter system that blocks 35 million websites that could be unsuitable. You're not a big fan of filters, even if it comes to government security.
Well, no, I mean, when you think about the world that we live in today, of course, you need to put in place measures that are going to advance the cybersecurity posture of any organization, whether that's public or private.
You're a big fan of the cloud, I understand, when it comes to solving this problem.
Well, I'm a huge fan of cloud computing because in my personal experience working for President Obama, we were spending $80 billion in information technology, yet for too long, we had seen wasteful IT projects that did not produce any dividends for the people of the country. By moving to the cloud and adopting a cloud-first policy, we were able to not only save billions of dollars, but we're also able to make sure that we're moving to a much more secure enterprise with the most innovative solutions that could serve the American people.
Now, you say it's secure. There are a lot of people who worry that because there are many users on a cloud platform, you're only as safe as the service provider of the cloud, aren't you?
Well, if we look at the most recent cybersecurity breaches across the world, for that matter, they generally tend to be from social engineering. It generally tends to be people rather than the technology itself.
There are still people, even at cloud level, aren't there? And the people I've spoken to about this seem to shy away from any form of regulation. They prefer self-regulation. I'm just wondering whether things could go horribly wrong on a big level.
Well, I think if you look at most advanced economies, one of the things that every economy is grappling with is as more and more business processes move to the digital world, what does systemic risk really mean in that context? When you think about the healthcare sector, the transportation sector, when you think about what's happening with the intelligent transportation systems, part of what we need to be able to do is make sure that we're hardwiring security as part of these digital infrastructures that we're deploying, but more importantly, that we're creating an ecosystem where the expectation is that these providers are going to be open, transparent, and they're going to share what's actually happening across their systems.
Well, moving on, talking about hard wiring, I gather you think quite a lot of our NBN project.
Well, so the NBN project, from my perspective, on principle, it's absolutely the right direction when you're thinking about a nation state that's making a strategic investment to bring broadband to as many people as possible. And innovation and the ability to use information technology to disrupt the status quo is going to be how advanced economies are going to be able to grow.
Putting your cost efficiency hat on, which you did such a great job with for President Obama, I'm just wondering if you thought of a public sector project which is either 36 billion or 42 billion with no independent cost-benefit analysis done, would that raise the red light on your flashing dashboard?
Well, look, I think it's a question that comes down to, is this a strategic investment in the national interest, and what is happening around the world? I would say as you think about the modern economy, building a core infrastructure that's going to enable millions of people and fundamentally transform the economy, whether it comes to healthcare, education, public safety, and the ability to connect people that were never connected before, seems to be a worthy goal.
Regardless of the price?
No, you have to take that into account in terms of the cost factors. But I would say from a strategic perspective, it totally makes sense to make these investments.
Okay. Finally, you believe, I think, that down the track, productivity, which is something we're obsessed with in Australia, productivity won't be the great nirvana benchmark of the future.
In terms of the next decade, the biggest disruption is a world that is now social and it's mobile. Obviously, productivity is going to be a critical factor, but I think the next decade is about people connecting and fundamentally transforming the way they conduct, whether it's commerce or how they socialize in this new digital public square.
Industrial springs I can see everywhere, but Vivek Kundra, very interesting. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.